Hey buddy, I got your unit out. There's your new air handling unit. That's gonna sit in the closet. This is where the furnace and the coil was up top. I've got some disheartening news for you. Here's the source of your water leak. This is the drain pipe. It's broken inside the wall. So it goes in the wall and then it shoots. It has an elbow and then another elbow that travels alongside this wall here. And you see that's where this water's coming from. I mean, it's also coming out in front of the unit too. But so somewhere in here, the drain pipe is broken. So we can't drain that way anymore. So I'm about to call you when I send you this. So, yep. But there it is. There's your open hole.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in today. Flowers Heating and Air Conditioning channel. From conception to completion, we guarantee your satisfaction. Today, I did a change out for a gentleman over here. And let me show you what we did here. We have this nice open closet here, and we took out a furnace and coil, super jacked up, part and pieced together over the years. And so I told him he needed to get it replaced. Actually, the old unit, the drain pan cracked, and it ruined his floors in this beautiful home. And so there's still some water from where it was leaking. And so I told him, or offered to him, some newer piece of equipment that I am offering to some clients. And this is it. It is what's really cool about this, honestly and truly, is this is a 230 volt or 115 volt air handler. What does that mean? How cool is that? Is that I don't have to run to put a air condition or air handler, electric air handler in. I don't have to run a 230 volt number 6 wire all the way back to the panel, and do all the hassle. I can simply just tie on with some new wiring and use the light switch here. Okay, now what's the benefit to that? Okay, you can't use electric heat, but wait till I show you the outside. This is a high efficiency, super high efficiency variable speed blower air handler. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. But what I truly love about it, it's dual voltage. It's 230 or 115, automatic switching inside. So you just hook that 115 up and it knows that it has 115 power and it'll operate the exact same as a 230 volt. All right. So let me just show you this before we step outside. A little awkward here, but we're sitting on a plenum here. This is where the furnace was sitting on this here. And so I needed to raise it up a couple inches so that I could get a pump in to pump this out. Because here's what's ridiculously crazy. The reason this unit was melting water everywhere, I don't know if it was the drain pan or, you see that little hole back in there? All right, that is where the drain was going. And it was part and pieced, elbowed and all that. Well, in the wall, the elbow actually came out. It actually fell apart, okay? So right here, you can see I've got tied into the pump. Right there, the elbow had come apart in the wall, and you can see how he's got to get this all ripped out so it doesn't mold. But yeah, I mean, it ran the sheetrock and everything, and it's running right now. Okay. So no leaks, but I'm gonna have him have just a small access panel here. If it ever needs to get serviced or cleaned, you can pop that open and clear it or whatever you need to do, okay? So, but this point was higher than our drain, okay? Our drain is probably somewhere like coming out right here, so water doesn't flow uphill. So I had to end up pumping it out, unfortunately. It's one more thing that can fail. But, you know, in the end, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So we got it installed and, you know, looks good. It's gonna do a good job for them. All right, now let me show you the outside. All right, making our way around the corner. Here's the beauty. Okay, so it's running in first stage of cooling. It's pretty powerful right now. It's running in first stage of cooling. So this unit here, just to give you kind of a rundown, it's a variable speed heat pump condenser, okay? This is an extreme heat pump condenser. What does that mean? It means that it will have continuous heat pump operation all the way down to -22. Isn't that crazy? -22, it'll run, okay? Now, it has 100% output heating capability without the use of electric heat, all the way down to 5 degrees, okay? So 5 degrees is really cold, and it really doesn't get that cold here in Central Arkansas, except maybe 1, 2, 3 nights out of the year, okay? And so I believe at like -5, it has like 95% capacity, okay? So this is a bad to the bone unit. It really, really is. What's also cool about this is see that it has a blue fan, which is not a problem. But at the end of each cycle, it's gonna run in reverse to get any leaves or any loose debris off of the coil. Isn't that so cool? All right, so it's engineered to help keep it clean if it can. You know, like obviously it's still got to get cleaned, but at the end of each cycle, it's going to run in reverse and get any leaves or loose debris out. I think that's ingenious and just a good move. And there's our water. Now he's gonna do something with this water. He's gonna make a little bed, I guess. But we put a little river rock right here, a nice pad and some blocks to raise it up. In the winter time, we don't want any ice buildup hitting the fan or anything, so we build it up just a little bit. But the river rock makes it just look nicer, you know, than just sitting in the mud, because it's kind of a muddy spot right here. We've had a lot of rain lately. But yeah, here it is. We have a surge protector on it, and it's incredible, guys. Technology is incredible. We changed from a gas-fired furnace to electrification and using refrigerant to heat, and this will heat no problem. He's going to get a $2,000 energy rebate or tax rebate at the end of the year once he registers, and so that's going to be very cool. He's going to love it. So anyways, thanks for watching. There'll be more to follow. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, be safe. God bless. Bye. All right, just to clarify a few things that I had stated in that initial video is I did not diagnose the original leak, okay? He had his buddy out, and his buddy said, man, your drain pan is cracked. There's nothing we can do. It's an old R410A unit, so you need to really replace it, but you need to replace it with one of the new units that has the new refrigerant. And so he contacted me with all the details already prepared, what his buddy gave him. I don't know why his buddy wasn't doing it or whatever. I don't know, but he called me, said this is what's going on. I need it replaced. Get me some options. So that's how all that happened. me showing up today, basically sight unseen. He had sent me a few pictures, so I kind of sort of knew, but I didn't know it was that bad. Okay, so the drain pan could have been leaking, but the stub out, the male threaded with the female slip, the pipe sticking in that wasn't even glued. So when I took the PVC apart, that came right out. So it could have been leaking there. But also, and the biggie was when I disassembled the entire PVC from that back wall, that little hole that I showed you, the drain pipe just fell to the ground, and I said, "Whoa, what is that?" So I got to looking, and sure enough, the pipe stuck in the wall, elbowed over, and then elbowed back in to go through all the studs on the inside wall, stud, all the way to the outside. Well, one of those elbows had come loose in the wall. Okay, so that was the huge leak that caused his floors just to get wiped out by water, which is very unfortunate. So I don't envy him. It's whatever, it happens. Okay, so that's the importance of having wet switches, condensate safety switches, that it'll shut off if it senses water or whatever, in case you have something going on like this. That's not good. But anyways, the reason I had to use that pump is because the outlet of the condensate on the air handler was about, I think, 6 to 8 inches lower than the outlet to the outside, and so I just unfortunately had to pump it. But it's okay, pumps rarely fail. And, the ones that I install, I rarely see them go bad. The ones that I do replace are like 8-10 years old, so they handle a lot of load pretty well. But anyways, I just wanted to clarify that. Further clarification on that outdoor unit: the indoor unit has no electric heat. It is strictly, basically, a blower and a coil. Okay, so a variable speed blower and a high efficiency coil with an electronic expansion valve. And that outdoor unit is pretty near guaranteed to heat no matter what the temperature is outside. Okay, so it'll continuously heat, put out output heat at negative 22 degrees. Okay, 100% at 5 degrees. That's pretty low, folks. 5 degrees is a low temperature. Maybe not in the north, but in the south, 5 degrees, that's a cold night, and it rarely gets there. Okay, and it'll give 100% heat. So there's no need for that backup heat. It's got intelligent defrost. All right, and I'm just kind of rambling, but it'll shut off the indoor unit if it needs to go through a defrost. It will shut off the indoor fan, and it will go through its defrost cycle. It will turn back into heat and heat that coil back up before it turns the fan on again. So you don't need that electric heat to offset the cooling just to get that outdoor unit defrosted. For the folks who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Folks who don't, a traditional heat pump does not heat very well at all when it gets below 47 degrees outside, which is pretty pathetic. And that's something I didn't realize. I didn't study. I wasn't studied up on it until very recently, about in the past year. But a traditional 14 SEER, it doesn't matter. You can even use a 20 SEER variable speed heat pump, traditional, and it will do an amazing job cooling. It'll be the best air conditioner you'll ever buy, right? But when it switches over in that heating, you're still going to have those high utility bills, electric bills, because it still will not heat very well below 47 degrees. Okay, so we get those freezing nights where it's 25 out. That outdoor unit has dropped about half of its capacity. Meaning if you have a 3-ton, 36,000 BTU heat pump at 25 degrees, you're probably at 60%. But let's just say 50 for a round number. 50% capacity has dropped. That outdoor unit can only produce 15,000 BTUs worth of heating. That is why your electric heat kicks on to supplement, all right? It can't keep up, so your thermostat says, hey, give me more heat, and it kicks on those electric heat, and it'll heat up just like that, right? But then at the end of the month, you get your electric bill, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. I just installed this high-efficiency variable speed unit, and I'm still getting extremely high bills in the winter. That's because your electric heat is still kicking on a whole bunch. But with these units, so the Samsung units that I install and these units here, you know, I can't say that's the only heat pump I'll ever install because I always have to operate on some sort of budget. So they're not cheap equipment, but they perform so well. It's incredible. So this will be my go-to setup, a heat pump, to where we can run it. Heat pump, no matter what the temperature is outside, it's going to give heating. Now, the caveat to all this is if you're a person who likes the thermostat set to 68 degrees, no matter what the temperature is, a heat pump might not be able to keep up at 78 with it being 5 degrees outside. 78 and 5, that's a 73% or 73 degree difference between indoor and out. That's a drastic difference. The only separating outdoor air from indoor air is walls that may or may not be well insulated, windows that may or may not be insulated, sealed, or anything like that. You know, an attic that may or may not be insulated. So like all this comes into play. A gas furnace, it might heat to 78 with a really leaky house, but it's gonna get cold instantly, you know, because all that air is infiltrating. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling here, but just wanted to clarify a few of those things. So I'm super happy about the unit, how it came out. It's kind of a plug and play. Like I said, you just hook that 115 volt up, it knows what voltage it is, and it operates with no problem, you know. And I put a 2 heat and 2 cool thermostat on it. So it's Wi-Fi for the customer. He'll set all that up. And so anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble. If you have any more thoughts or questions about this unit that I just installed, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. I'm going to try to create more content, but it's super hard to create content because I'm always in a rush. You know, I'm most of the time a one-man show, so I'm thinking 3 steps ahead. I'm getting stuff out of the truck, and you know, it doesn't really work well trying to set up a camera and, you know, film this and film that and then walk you through this process as I'm installing. Well, all that eats up the day. And so, you know, I've done a few of those, and I'm finishing up around 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I'm like, hey, hold up. I talked to the camera about an hour and a half, you know. There's where all my time went. So, you know, I'll try to get you some shots when I can, take you on some service calls, because those are always interesting. So anyways, thanks for coming along the ride.